Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. Canada is slashing its 100% tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles, providing an on-ramp for Chinese EVs to get into the Canadian market. What will this deal mean for Canada? What will it mean for car buyers? Call us on that up first. After 12:30, are you taking up a new hobby in 2026? We'll be joined by a crafter and a run club organizer about how to get started and, more importantly, how to commit. We'd love to hear from you. I'm Michelle Elliott. Welcome to BC Today. You can call us now on our top story. What will this trade deal allowing nearly 50,000 Chinese EVs to Canada mean for Canada? What will it mean for consumers? Our number is 604-669-3733, 604-669-3733, or 1-800-825-5950. You can also just hit pound 690 on your phone or email bctoday@cbc.ca. You can leave a comment on TikTok as well. The tariff rate on Chinese electric vehicle imports, starting now, will drop to 6.1%, a far departure from the previous 100% rate Canada imposed back in 2024. Now, in return, Ottawa expects Beijing to drop canola seed duties to 15% by March. Here's Prime Minister Mark Carney speaking earlier today at a press conference in Beijing.
China's strengths in electric vehicle sector are undeniable. China produces some of the most affordable and efficient energy efficient vehicles in the world. And in order for Canada to build our own competitive EV sector, we need to learn from innovative partners, access their supply chains, and increase local demand. And to help deliver the full potential of these partnerships and bring down costs for Canadians, Canada has agreed to allow up to 49,000 Chinese electric vehicles into the Canadian market, with the most favored nation tariff rate of 6.1%.
More broadly, Carney says Canada's relationship with the United States is deeper, though China currently poses one distinct advantage.
The one comparison I will give you with the United States, our relationship, this is no insight, is much more multifaceted, much deeper, much broader than it is with China. But yes, in terms of the way that our relationship has progressed in recent months with China, it is more predictable.
That's Prime Minister Mark Carney speaking in Beijing today. Now, the deal will allow the annual sale of 49,000 Chinese EVs in Canada, expected to rise to 70,000 in about 5 years. We're asking you, what do you think this deal will mean for Canada? What will it mean for Canadian auto buyers? You can call us now. Again, just hit pound 690 on your cell phone or dial 604-669-3733, 1-800-825-5950. Joining me now is Rachel Doran, the Executive Director of Clean Energy Canada, and she joins me from Toronto. Good afternoon.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
Thank you very much for joining us. What is your reaction to this news?
Well, we've been suggesting that Canada has kind of been stuck between a rock and a hard place, and it could really do something a bit more balanced on tariffs, not the 100% sledgehammer the US has imposed, but something more like the European Union, which allows a certain amount of vehicles in to really help bring vehicles at the price point that Canadians and British Columbians want into Canada. So we would welcome this decision. We don't think it's an opening of the floodgates. We think this is a foot in the door, but we think it's going to really make a difference for market competitiveness in Canada for a number of reasons.
What will this mean for the consumer? Let's start with that. That's probably what people are really wondering.
Yeah, well, we did some research back in the fall looking at, a lot of people in Canada are still saying they want an electric vehicle. When we polled British Columbians, we said 7 in 10 in Metro Vancouver wanted an EV as their next car, and 8 in 10 among kind of those in their 30s. But the issue has just been there aren't cars available at the price point that people are looking for. So in Canada, in the fall, there was one electric vehicle under $40,000 in Canada. But when you look at some of our allies, like the European Union, they had 21 vehicles available. Not all of those were Chinese, but the Chinese models kind of are sparking a bit of competition at those lower price points and driving more models into the market where people can afford them.
Now, can you tell us? So, this essentially brings us back, right, to pre 2024, before these tariffs were brought in. And there was a cap as well on how many Chinese electric vehicles could be imported to Canada. But what were sales like? Because as I understand it, at the time at least, there were concerns about the quality.
Well, I think when people hear Chinese electric vehicles, I think they often think about we hear these tales of a $10,000 car available in China. Back in 2023, 2024, we were seeing brands like Volvo, Polestar, Tesla being produced in China and then shipped. Those kind of supply chains have changed as a result of US tariffs, but there's really a broad variety of what this could mean, and we'll have to wait for details further on the kinds of vehicles that will come to Canada. But certainly, I think Canada is expecting that they would meet Canadian safety standards and, be the kinds of cars that we would expect to see on the market here, that Canadians are looking for.
So when you hear Premier Doug Ford in Ontario, who has expressed concern about this deal and what it means for his province and auto manufacturers there, also saying the federal government is inviting a flood of cheap made in China electric vehicles, what do you make of that statement?
So, I think it's really critical that Canada is striking a balance between sparking our own economy, supporting our workers, and this concern for consumers that we've been talking about. But, I think, as I said, looking at jurisdictions, and there are many globally now where Chinese vehicles are composing at least part of it, they aren't completely displacing other automakers. They're really, creating that, spark of competition that's driving price points down. And we see automakers like South Korean, Japanese, in the European Union, European kind of also coming in and trying to compete in those price points, maybe between $30,000 and $40,000. That's what we'd love to see happen in Canada. So hopefully there's a direct impact on price through some of these vehicles being made available, but also maybe an incidental effect of hopefully encouraging some more competition at those lower price points. We think this is a good step, but the government could also do things like accept European safety standards and then allow some models in from the European Union as well. And that's just another way to, again, start sparking that competition here at home. But I think maybe Ontario's reaction is clearly concerned about US blowback and impact on the auto manufacturing that are largely US manufacturers. Maybe what it discounts is just how important it's going to be for Canada to really start getting engaged in some of these supply chains, where, as we heard Prime Minister Carney say, Canada wants to be involved in kind of upstream critical mineral processing. It wants to be getting technology transfer from some of these firms that have really developed some of this key and leading technology. We need to be strategic. And so I think this is an attempt to play kind of a thoughtful middle ground around some of these interests.
My guest is Rachel Doran, Executive Director of Clean Energy Canada. And today, the federal government announced a deal with China, essentially removing the 100% tariffs on Chinese EVs. Up to 49,000 will be allowed to be brought into Canada at a tariff rate of just 6.1%. So a real difference there. We're asking, what will this deal mean for Canada? What will it mean for Canadian auto buyers? And in return, as well, cessation or reduction in tariffs when it comes to Canadian products like canola seeds going to China. Also affects canola meal, lobsters, peas, crabs, and other products that Canada sends to China. Taking your calls on to 604-669-3733. On the electric vehicle part of it, what do you think it means for Canada, for Canadian consumers as well? 604-669-3733, 1-800-825-5950. Chris is calling us from Victoria, where I know there are a lot of electric vehicles in Victoria, Chris.
Yeah, but they're still pretty expensive. And I think that this is a really great pathway towards hopefully being able to get just some more variety and choice on the market and, having some options at different price points. And as your guest said there, maybe being able to have some of the current manufacturers need to reconsider their price points to be able to compete. I also think that this is a really great potential pathway towards maybe working with China to start bringing in some of the inexpensive solar panels that they're creating there that a lot of the rest of the world is taking advantage of. I think it has the potential of maybe being able to really supercharge that renewable energy aspect of the Canadian economy if we can start getting some inexpensive solar panels in some kind of a deal from China as well.
Chris, thank you very much for the call. We have James joining us now, actually from Calgary. Hi, James.
Hello. Yeah, this is a really good deal for the less wealthy Canadians in Canada. And I hope the deal can be made better in the future by eliminating the tariffs. The less wealthy people in this country cannot afford the vehicles the manufacturers are selling today here in North America. And the Chinese are going to bring in a cheaper option for the less wealthy and the poor people in Canada. And these will be hopefully small, efficient, subcompact cars that will be really cheap. And, Canadians across this country need a cheap ride, particularly if they live in rural areas, to get to their hospital appointments, to go to the markets to buy food, to go to their jobs. And this, the auto manufacturers in North America eliminated the sale of subcompact cars. They stopped making those little tiny cars like Toyota Echo or whatever. And this has tightened up the small, efficient subcompact car market in this country. There's high demand for the cars, and the supply has dropped. And as a result, Canadians are paying much higher prices for these small, efficient subcompact cars. And hopefully the Chinese can come to our rescue and bring in cheap subcompact EVs for Canadians to drive. I see nothing but a bonus here, and I just hope the tariffs come down to zero for the EVs from China and for the agricultural products going to China after we're done dealing with Trump in the next trade negotiations.
James, thank you very much for the call. Joining us from Calgary. John is next in Delta now. What do you think this deal on EVs from China will mean for Canada and Canadian consumers, John?
Well, if anything, I think it should wake up our own auto industries on the price point and start listening to the consumer. Yes, we'd like to have quality, and as long as the quality's there, like I'm in my 70s, and when I bought my first car, it was like $2,300 for a brand new car, and now you're looking at it's like taking a mortgage out on a home when you look at the price points of vehicles to get around. So, but my point is, I'm hoping that it creates a competition for our own industries here and realize that yes, we can we make quality products, but we have to think about our who we're selling them to. We're selling them to ourselves, and we need to be able to bring in our own buyers. Like our consumers back to not being afraid to go out and buy a vehicle because of the price.
We see that as a barrier, yeah.
Yeah, and it is, and I watch people that have been thinking about buying a new car, but it's the price that's holding them back. So for me, if nothing else, and this is all about business and attracting business and promoting our own products here abroad. So, we have to come down and start looking at affordability as the priority of everyone in Canada around the world right now.
John, thank you so much. Thank you very much for the call. Affordability, I'm hearing that as a real theme here with our callers. Randy wrote us an email too. 49,000 EVs, absolutely the most progressive move the Carney government has made. Expand it. Forget the blowback and whining about to come from Alberta and Ontario. Hugh writes, allowing a limited number of Chinese EVs into Canada ensures that those few vehicles will be mostly expensive luxury sedans and bloated SUVs. We will see relatively few of the affordable hatchbacks, wagons, and small vans that urban Canadian families need. Efficient vehicles that have been largely discontinued in gasoline or hybrid or electric by North American car brands. Now, on that, let's just go through some of the details on that. Rachel Doran, my guest, the Executive Director of Clean Energy Canada. As part of this deal, there will be a proportion, as I understand it, that would be priced at $35,000 or less, and that is expected to increase to half of the imports. Is that right? Can you explain that part of it?
Yeah, so the announcement today included this kind of ambition that by 2030, half of the sort of quota would be cars under the $35,000 price point, which, as your kind of callers have pointed out, is something, it's a market segment that doesn't even exist in Canada today. There really isn't a car for sale on the market at that price. So, you know, I think it will still constitute a pretty small portion of the vehicles available. But again, that's really still kind of exciting for people who are hoping to spark other competitors to really enter at that price point. And I think your callers are also right. In Canada, we really have been kind of offered cars on the market that are a lot larger, less in those more kind of budget-friendly categories. And so again, this is maybe just a signal of, you know, where we might want the market to be going over the next few years.
I wonder now, there's a lot of, you know, the commentary about the EVs in this deal, but the discussion around this trade mission, this trade agreement as well, is this move toward negotiating and opening doors once again with China. And, you know, amid all of that, of course, part of it is a turn away, diversifying away from the United States, but also the concerns around security when it comes to dealing with China. We've heard that from the Prime Minister last year. What do you make of that, the calculus around that? How are they weighing the geopolitical part of this with the trade part of this as well?
Well, I mean, I know there's a lot of competing factors that we kind of discussed at the outset, these issues about consumers versus industry and China versus the US. You know, I don't think there's a silver bullet here, but, you know, there is a broad variety today of products being imported into Canada that are coming from China. We need to make sure we're thinking through what the sort of safety standards or other standards we might want to set to ensure quality for Canadian consumers. But certainly electric vehicles aren't alone in that. And when we think about the broader shift to electrification that is happening globally, 1 in 4 cars sold in 2025 around the world was electric. And this is happening not just in kind of wealthier countries like the European Union, this is happening like in Ethiopia. And so, you know, we want to make sure that we're taking advantage of where that technology is really on the leading edge. And China had 2 decades of an advantage in some of this electrification technology and innovation. We want to be in those supply chains. We want to be feeding in our kind of products, our company is kind of anchored within that value chain. We just need to figure out a way to do it that's best for Canada by issuing some of those protections and making sure we're not walking into it kind of blindly. But I think, again, this is kind of a small opening of the door. And, you know, we'll be eager to see where Canada goes from here to look out for the interests of our country and our citizens.
Eileen wrote us from Maple Ridge. I would like clearer information on which cars are made in Canada, 100% or 50%, etc. Which cars are made in Canada are EV versus gas consumption, and any safety risks on cars of any origin or type. Eileen, thank you. John is next now in Grand Forks. Hi, John. Welcome.
Hello.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on this deal to bring in EVs from China, up to 50,000, nearly 50,000 a year?
I think it's fantastic. It's a way to get more EVs on the road. I think we have to recognize that, you know, China has had a bad reputation, like, say, 10, 20, 30, 50 years ago of producing poor quality products, but that's not the case today. They are the world leaders in renewable and EVs. Their battery technology is moving forward at great speeds. They're producing gigawatts of solar energy every single day, and that supports 2 million homes. So, I mean, as long as these, and when they make these cars, they're catering to the world market. So their safety standards have to be on par with every other vehicle manufacturer out there. So I don't think that we should be worried about bringing these cars in. We should welcome them, purchase them, and enjoy them. They have long ranges, probably longer ranges than the North American EVs that are produced, and that's because of the battery technology. Reducing these tariffs as they did and providing relief for our seafood, for our canola products and other agricultural products is great. So there's going to be a lot of relief in Canada from that. And I think that the auto sector in Ontario really needs to seriously think about retooling and moving more towards producing renewable or EV cars. You know, it would be great if China would make an agreement with Ontario to have some of their cars produced in Ontario, so we can keep those guys going, producing EVs, and it would be low-cost EVs.
John, thank you very much for the call. Prime Minister Mark Carney talked about China's strengths in EV technology as well, and kind of implied that Canada would benefit from that. We're going to pause here for an ad break for our TV audience. We'll see you back here in 2 minutes from now as we take more calls. And our next caller now is PK in Vancouver. Hi, PK. Go ahead. Your thoughts.
One, the EV's security problem, where the information, all the data, all your phone, so on and so forth, goes to PRC. And two, this discussion concentrates on EVs, but how about pork? How about,
Canadian exports of pork.
Yes.
Okay.
Why is China not buying pork from Canada? It's not mentioned. Okay, Chinese people eat a lot of pork and chicken and so on and so forth. And why is it not mentioned? Does somebody have to answer for that?
PK, thank you very much. And I'm looking at thank you for the call. I'm looking at the backgrounder now on this agreement. I don't see pork. And in fact, Manitoba Premier Wab Kinew mentioned that today, saying it was welcome news that the tariffs on Canadian canola would be reduced. But he said one word was missing, and that was pork. And he said, could it be that it's in there, but they didn't mention it for whatever reason? These are the kinds of questions I want to see the Prime Minister answer. So Kinew has the government to drop tariffs, has asked the government to drop tariffs on Chinese vehicles in return for loosened levies on canola and pork. Okay, so the question there around Canadian pork. Thank you very much for that question, PK. And I'm going to go back to your point about security. It's something that I have heard in the lead up to today's announcement, just in the discussion around EVs from China. Are there security concerns? What have you heard? I mean, from your perspective with Clean Energy Canada, I don't know to what extent you've looked into that security question.
I mean, I think I would be reluctant to hold myself out on an expert on security.
Yes, fair.
What I will say, though, is, I think some of your callers have rightly noted that there are a number of countries these days, like we are definitely not the only country trying to grapple with some of these issues. And we're seeing allies and allied countries already having to put some kind of negotiated pieces into their trade agreements with China around security, around safety standards. So, I think it's something that the Canadian government, given the past history with China, will certainly be mindful of. And, as we see more details on this deal roll forward, I think we can anticipate that being something that the government is mindful of and thinking about. But again, I think, as your callers pointed out, this isn't something I think we can ignore, that China is producing the leading technology in this field. So the issue really should be, how do we address the security concerns, not can we maybe not have them in our country at all. It's probably going to be very difficult over the course of the next several decades to just ignore that 70% of the supply chain in what is going to be the emerging mode of transportation globally is sort of anchored in China. And it's really about how we address that, I think, not whether.
One last email here on that question of security, just to bring more of the commentary on the air here. Lauren writes from Salmon Arm, I'm very pleased that the market is opening up for Chinese EVs, but at the same time, I'm concerned about data going to all car companies. Cars collect an enormous amount of data, both personal and public. Lauren, thank you for that email as well. Rachel, it's very good to have you on for a reaction to this announcement today. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Rachel Doran is Executive Director of Clean Energy Canada, joined us from Toronto. It's 12:31 now. You're with BC Today. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Michelle Elliott. A happy Friday to you as well. And our next half hour, we're going to ask you, we're kind of halfway into January now. Are you picking up a new hobby for 2026? Let us know and tell us as well if you have picked up a new hobby recently. How have you committed? How did you stick to it? Love to hear your stories coming up after the news update. And it is now 12:31, time for your CBC News Update. And here is Rob Zimmerman.
Good afternoon. The BC Crab Fishermen's Association is celebrating Ottawa's trade deal with China. Canadian seafood has been under a 25% tariff, but today's agreement will remove tariffs entirely from canola meal, peas, lobster, and crab. As we've been hearing on the show, in exchange, Canada will allow nearly 50,000 Chinese EVs into the domestic market every year. West Vancouver police say an 18-year-old is dead after falling from a chairlift at the Cypress Ski Resort. Police say it appears to have been a tragic accident with no indication of technical or mechanical issues with the lift. The victim's name has not been released. An opposition finance critic and MLA for Kamloops Centre, Peter Millibar, is joining the race to lead the BC Conservatives. He's the third contender adding themselves to the race this week. And now the forecast on the North Coast, mainly sunny this afternoon with a high of 8. Highs around 0 with lots of sunshine in the Peace. In the central interior, including Prince George, mainly sunny with a high of -1. Highs around 3 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud in the Kootenays. In the southern interior, including Kelowna, some sunshine with a high of 4. And for Metro Vancouver, Greater Victoria, and the Fraser Valley, sunny this afternoon with highs around 10 degrees. That's your CBC News Update from Vancouver.
That is quite the weather forecast.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's gorgeous out. Have you been out enjoying it?
As much as I can, yeah. Love the sunshine.
Absolutely. Yesterday, and we had this spate of really dark, rainy weather in Vancouver.
Yes, we have.
Which is,
like
par
for the last 4 months. Yeah.
par for the course. But yes, yesterday when I stepped out of my house and saw the sunshine, felt the warmth, thought I got to get out there. So I went to a park, went for a trail walk. It was lovely. Oh, my goodness.
Great change of pace. The newsroom is way livelier when the weather is nice. It's just people are happier.
It's
more
true.
happy.
Everyone has a bounce to their step.
Yeah.
Are you heading out to a tennis court at all?
Yeah, but indoor.
Indoor.
At this time.
Still, it's cold
a little
today.
chilly.
It's a little chilly. Well, I hope you have a good time.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Thanks.
Enjoy yourself at pickleball, Rob.
Yeah.
Tennis.
See ya.
And off he goes. That's Rob Zimmerman, avid tennis player here at CBC, bringing you the news update from the CBC Vancouver newsroom. Yes, certainly gorgeous weather, and that's going to continue throughout the weekend too, so I hope you do enjoy it, and stay warm though. $12:35 now. You're with BC Today. I'm Michelle Elliott. Thanks very much for joining us. And can you believe we're kind of really halfway through January now? So new year, new era, new you. And how about new hobby? So whether it's a craft, a musical instrument, or a sport, we want to know, what new hobby are you trying out this year? And have you picked one up recently? How did you get started? How did you commit to something new? And what's it been like taking on a new hobby for you? You can give us a call. Love to hear from you. You can just hit pound 690 on your cell phone, or you can dial 1-800-825-5950. That's 1-800-825-5950, 604-669-3733, 604-669-3733. You can also email bctoday@cbc.ca. And we are also live on TikTok. So if you want to give us a comment there, we would love to read it on air. Joining me in studio are two guests who know a thing or two about hobbies. Beata Kacy is founder of Soigne, which is a Vancouver-based art studio that offers art and craft classes. And Chris Cole is co-founder of The Run In, that's INN, which is a running store that hosts weekly run clubs in Vancouver and Delta. Welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
How are you enjoying the weather?
Couldn't ask for more. Beautiful.
Good running weather, right?
Absolutely. The seawall is a lot busier today than it would have been yesterday.
I bet. You know, I walked past a store that had an ad for run clubs and saying you can start here, you can join our run clinics. And given that at the time we were still in that dark, rainy weather, I kind of just kept walking past.
Sure.
But I'm sure you're getting a lot of interest. I mean, what's it like in January when you're running a run club?
Well, it's uptick, as we say in the industry, with the New Year's resolution. People who have overindulged through the Christmas season or made some promises maybe they think they can keep or can't keep. But certainly we see an uptick and the numbers, people out trying to get so-called fit again and have a goal set, for the...
I like how you said so-called fit there. But how do you encourage people to even come out and then to come back for the next one?
Yeah, I think it's about getting people committed, getting them to have attainable goals that are realistic within them, giving them some guidance through some coaching through clinics, and making sure that they're not doing too much too soon. Right? Our clinics are set up, and you look at a run group or clinic, and they call them run leaders. I like to refer to them more as a run guide, where the leader is a guide rather than running from the front. They run from the back. Nobody gets left behind. They don't overtrain to start. So it's a big picture approach, and hopefully we create a habit that it's a lifelong goal and ends in their DNA, and they enjoy it because the attrition rate can be fairly high from the overtraining out of the blocks. It's about sort of spoon feeding people, taking them slowly, introducing them to them, and not thinking that you want to run a marathon 3 months after Christmas. Have a more methodical approach.
Yes, because that can certainly be daunting. I really like that, to prevent attrition. Just don't overdo it at the start.
Yeah.
Beata, what about for you? What are people thinking about? I'm going to try my hand at making jewelry this year. What's January like?
It's been quite busy.
Yeah.
I think we introduced a little bit of approach that we've never done before, which basically listen to the needs. So everybody wants to do things. They want to be creative, but there's not always accessibility. So basically, we start introducing this year early mornings. So for example, 5:30. If you morning person, you can come to the studio and do things.
Yeah, if you've got a busy day ahead.
Right before you start your work, you can come, get creative, relax, prepare for work, for a busy day, and have early morning. And there's nobody in town offering such early workshops.
What a great idea, because I imagine when you say accessibility, it's kind of like availability of courses or having the time when you've already got a busy schedule.
Yeah.
I find that to be a hurdle as well.
Yeah.
For sure. So when people come, are they intimidated if they're trying it for the first time?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So in the past, when people coming usually after work, evenings, maybe during the day at lunch, you could see there was always this rush. Okay, there was traffic. I couldn't find parking. Then parking meter didn't work. And you can see they're all coming stressed and just coming, doing this big breath.
Right.
Sitting down, and then they start creating, and you see the change, right?
Really?
You see how they relax, their facial expression changes. and they talk slower. And, it's completely different when I greet them at the door.
What's it like when you greet them at the door?
It's usually like a little
They're
bit
still
stressed. I didn't
uptight,
know
yeah.
that the tight is from, as you said, intimidating because it's art. Not everybody's comfortable with that. Or is it just the rush they had to go through to get to the studio? Like 5 o'clock driving through town is a nightmare, right? So now introducing the mornings, we're hoping that could be a little bit easier to get to the studios, maybe with less stress. But even if you stress coming to studio, we're going to deal with that. We're going to leave the studio very relaxed and very happy with your results. And
What kinds of things do you make?
well, we have 30 different classes, so we offer for everybody something, from soap making to soy candles, lots of jewelry, painting. Probably I would say we specialize in jewelry making, and not only traditional like metalsmithing, lost wax. We do very, I would say, non-traditional techniques like electroforming, that is more like a science. We do turn rings from coins, which is extremely popular right now. It's
really?
almost like a trend on TikTok. Yes, on social media, it's booming. Then we do metal clay, which is fairly new, 20 years old technique. And we do all that, and nobody else offers that in Canada. We're the only one in Canada teaching those unusual techniques.
What an array of crafts that you can make. Certainly it seems as though people are hoping for something they can do with their hands and something that's tactile and personal. I imagine the social part is a big part of this as well.
Absolutely. Providing an inclusive, fun environment for people to come out, meet new people. Countless people have come to our run groups and created relationships of long-lasting life relationships through exercise and running. And no doubt about that at all.
Let's take some calls here. We're asking you if you're hoping to pick up a new hobby in 2026. Have you picked one up? Have you developed a new hobby? And what was that like? Trying it out and actually sticking to it. Love to hear from you. 604-669-3733. 604-669-3733. 1-800-825-5950. My guests are Chris Cole, co-founder of The Run In, which is a running store that hosts weekly run clubs in Vancouver and Delta. And Beata Kacy is founder of Soigne, which is a Vancouver-based art studio that offers art and craft classes. If you're hoping to learn a musical instrument as well, I am still, fingers crossed, hoping to learn how to play guitar. I play piano, but we have a guitar at home. My son has picked it up, and it's so lovely to hear him strumming and learning songs just off of TikTok or just off Spotify and playing along. It's been so great. So I'm hoping to be able to do that as well. Let's take some calls now. Dave is joining us from Cumberland. Hello there, Dave. You have quite a unique hobby that you'd like to share.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I've recently picked up fossil hunting.
Wow.
Going out into the local rivers and beaches and going to find, fossils that are millions of years old.
What made you interested in that?
Actually, I was in the Courtney Museum, and I was talking to the curator there, Pat Trask, and he was saying that there's dozens of people in the Comox Valley alone that have made discoveries that are new to science. So that kind of got me interested in it.
Yeah. And so can you tell us about, where you go and what you do to kind of, try and dig it up or you find these fossils?
Yeah, for sure. So basically you go anywhere with the right, the right strata and where rock is exposed, sedimentary rock is exposed. And around Vancouver Island, it's all marine environment, ancient marine environment rock. So you go, and often the fossils are present in concretions, these hard nodules of rocks. So it's really fun. You find these nodules and you knock them out with a geology hammer, and then you have to crack them open. And about 1 in 10 of them actually contain a fossil. So it's really a treasure hunt trying to pop these things open and see what's in there.
That is so cool. Oh my gosh. And what's your success rate?
Oh yeah. It's 1 in 10 for concretions, and it's just definitely fossil hunting. You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get skunked, and then sometimes you get really cool finds like ammonites are really cool, or like even people that found marine reptiles. I think.
Oh my goodness.
In the Comox Valley, famously in the Comox Valley is the elasmosaur here, and teeth. You can find mosasaur teeth sometimes, shark teeth. Hornby Island, there's been a pterosaur found there. A pterosaur is like a pterodactyl. Yeah.
And for what you have found, where do you display them?
Oh, yeah. So, so fossils found in the province of British Columbia remain the property of the province, but as the fossil hunter and collector, you're the custodian of it. So you can proudly display it in your house. So that's what I do, put it on my shelf. And in my Zoom background is a nice ammonite I found.
That's awesome and good to know. Thanks for sharing the regulations around that. What an interesting hobby that you have picked up, Dave. And it sounds like you got into it through your interest in science. And here you are now. And it sounds as well like the journey is actually, part of the joy, right? Not just the destination of actually finding these fossils. Thank you very much. Really nice to hear from you. You're getting us started on this conversation. Mike is now next in Kelowna. Hi, Mike.
Hi, how you doing?
I am very well. What's the hobby that you've picked up?
Well, I tried my hand at carving soapstone for the first time.
Wow. Okay, so tell us, they're beautiful. So what got you started?
Basically just a conversation I had with my girlfriend at Christmas time, and after having the conversation about it, we seen some pieces on the auction. So I went ahead and bought 3 pieces at auction and tried it out for the first time and just finished my first piece yesterday.
You did. Tell us about it.
Well, I chose to do a gold panner because gold panning is what I do. And for my first attempt, I would say it turned out pretty darn good.
Okay, so pardon me, just so I understand, you also do gold panning?
I do, yes.
Okay, which kind of goes back to our fossil hunter earlier.
Yeah, I envy him.
Yeah. So that I'm sure that resonated with you as well. And so now you've got 2 kind of cool things that you do. So where do you have this new carving then? Where do you put it on display?
For now, it's on my shelf.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to auction it off later on this spring to raise money for the gold panning championships in Fraser Valley.
Aha. So it's going to help you out with that. Congratulations, Mike, on your first piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think you'll do more?
Yeah, it's a wonderful thing. I encourage anybody to try something for the first time because
I love that.
That's a reward.
How hard is it?
It's not very hard at all. It's mostly visual. You have to see it and feel it and just etch away slowly until you end up with what you wanted.
Well, good for you, Mike. Thank you very much. Good luck with the gold panning championships, okay?
Good. Thank you.
Take care. I love what he said there about it's always worthwhile to try something new.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can see you guys nodding. Can you tell us about that? What's how much of that informs people coming to your store to learn about craft, Beata?
Absolutely. Like starting new, like every year we're trying to introduce new classes. So then as well, we have people who are like, hey, anything new coming? Any new classes happening?
And what do you get out? What do they get out of, this is completely new to me. I've never, taken the opportunity to make a piece of jewelry before. What is that experience like?
I think at the end, when I see them leaving, they're just amazed what they made in like 2-3 hours.
Right.
There's the self-accomplishment, boosting their confidence. It's completely different facial expression when they coming and they leaving. It's quite amazing to do something with your hands, and it's something that you will wear it, gift it, you like it. That's not gonna go to the bin.
Yes. And so, Chris, that element of trying something new, how important is that?
Very much. For us, it's people who maybe want a lifestyle change. They're sedentary. They come to the group. They come to the stores. And we've had people show up in jeans and tennis shoes end up as lifelong clinic members and doing events and just, again, creating a habit, a good, healthy habit that they can't effectively live without once they get the bug.
Is it scary for them?
Intimidating for sure. I mean, athletics or sports can be very intimidating.
Sure.
And I think the good thing about running is you don't have to be an athlete to be a runner. I think it's important to understand that in terms of a lifestyle change or choice. So, if you didn't succeed in school or the sport or whatever like that, that's not going to determine you as a lifestyle change to be active the rest of your life. So, and running is the simplest form of activity and exercise with the right guidance, with a clinic, some good footwear, properly fit. And yeah, it's again, it's intimidating to start, but I think in our environments, in our stores, we make it a point of eliminating, as we say, nobody's going to the Olympics around here. Mm-hmm. It's that type of approach to what we do. So it's
that's very encouraging. Yeah. We actually have a caller who is an avid runner.
Good.
I think this is Chef Ned Bell. Is that you, Ned?
Hi, Michelle. How are you?
Well, nice to hear from you. I know that you're an avid cyclist, but you want to talk about running.
Yes. Well, I heard Chris's voice, and I've been buying shoes from Chris since I was probably 18 years old.
Oh,
so
wow.
Coming up on what seems like 3 decades.
How you doing, Ned?
And it was, hey, buddy, how are you?
Good.
He's properly fit me in some incredible, probably over 100 pairs of shoes in my years. But, the hobby turned into a habit all because of my mom,
That's
who
right.
was an avid runner. And unfortunately, Mom passed away last year. But running is my connection to her. I am an avid cyclist. I ride in the summertime, and then I run in the fall and winter just because I sort of love the difference of the two of them. But running has taken me all over the world. I travel all over the world because of my other hobby, cooking. But wherever I find myself, I go for a run, whether that's New York or Vietnam or India or Japan or Great Wall of China. I've run all over the world because of this incredible hobby that turned into a habit that is great for my mental health, but also my physical health. And that's literally thanks to my mom and to Chris. So, thank you, buddy.
Thanks, Ned. Appreciate that. Yeah, Ned's from Kerrisdale originally, and he used to work at Kerrisdale Lumber before he became a world-class chef. And
his other hobby, as he calls it.
Yeah, that's more than a hobby. He's setting the mark there in the culinary world for sure. But no, I appreciate the call in, Ned. Thanks.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
Ned,
my friend.
I'm going to have to ask you, what's been your favorite run around the world? What stays with you now?
My run yesterday,
okay.
where I ran around the city with my new dog, and it was a place to send her as I thought of my mom. And I adore running because it gets me out into the open wherever I am. It's my even if it's pouring rain. Wear good clothing, go for a long run, and it clears all ailments. Although if you don't stretch properly, it can add to some other ailments too. But, certainly it all starts from the feet and great shoes. And it helps my brain.
Yeah.
And usually gets me thinking about my favorite recipe that I want to cook with that night.
Oh, there we go. This is how it begins,
Yes,
right?
yes.
How the magic starts.
Yeah.
Ned, always good to hear from you. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Ned.
Enjoy your weekend.
Have a
Now,
good day.
I know Ned has spent a lot of time in the Okanagan. We have Anne calling us from Vernon now. Hi, Anne. Welcome.
Hello. Nice to get on the line. I thought I would promote trying a new instrument when you said that you're learning the guitar. Well, here in the Okanagan, we have this amazing opportunity to learn recorder as an adult. Now, maybe most people have learned recorder in grade 4, and they might not have the best memories of it. But as an adult, we have in 2 communities, Winfield and Kelowna, an opportunity to learn different sized recorders from bass all the way up to the small soprano. And the beautiful thing about recorder is once you get past the fact, grade 4 recorder, you realize what an ancient instrument it is. And a lot of the music of the Renaissance, Baroque, was played on recorders, whether it was in a symphony or whatever. And so I just wanted to encourage someone that might think, oh, I played it a long time ago. Well, here you go. You had this opportunity to learn.
Wow, and learn so much more about it. And did you get back into it yourself, Anne?
Well, truth be told, I was a music educator and I taught it for many years and I loved it. But
Yeah.
I love it even more now because I've been digging deeper into it, learning more notes and realizing the beauty of when a group plays together. It's really like singing in a choir. And if it's okay with you, I just wanted to promote that the Okanagan Recorder Orchestra is doing a concert tomorrow in Kelowna at the Cathedral of St. Michael's at 2 o'clock. So if anyone's thinking, recorder? Well, they might want to come. It's by donation, and then you can see this recorder orchestra in action. 5 different sizes, and it's a lot of fun.
Oh, that is wonderful. So that's 2 o'clock at the St. Michael's Cathedral in Kelowna?
Yes.
Okanagan Recorder Orchestra.
Yes.
Fantastic, Anne. I'm so glad we heard from you and that we got a vote for a musical instrument. Thank you very much. Glad you dug deeper, too, into the history of it. I have a minute or two, but I want to ask you both, have you tried something new that was outside your own comfort zone? This year's the year.
I tried. I have a passion for the rowing machine, the erg. So that's how I stay fit these days. And
Yeah.
there's a game on my erg. You can play these games, which are self-coaching on the game. So I tried a new game on my erg yesterday, and now you can ask my wife. I'm addicted to it. So that's something I was doing, but something that I wasn't doing within the game or the equipment. And I tried that, and now I'm hooked.
You, Beata?
Well, it's more of a sitting. I would say something that I'm trying to pick is new language, which is I found extremely difficult at older age.
You know, that is such a great goal. And I know so many people hope to learn a new language, myself included. So good on you. Congratulations. Keep at it. Absolutely. So nice to meet you both and have you on the program. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Really great conversation there. Beata Kacy, founder of Soigne Art Classes, and Chris Cole of Running Store.